I've always liked the phrase, a luxury once experienced becomes necessity. Really like my warm coffee in the morning. I don't remember when I started having it, but certainly 100 years ago, it was much more work than it was just to stop by the coffee place on my way in. It's just a luxury I enjoy. But what does this have to do with privacy? Well, the government's after it. Okay, now that sounds a little tinfoil hatty, but there is some truth to it. So the government has enjoyed the ease to some extent. There's a process, at least here in the United States, by which they can wiretap your phone. Once phones came available, wiretaps didn't, fall far behind. And it's a way that they could tap into and do criminal investigations. It became part of the tool set that the authorities could use to track a criminal. Then with the digital age, we go a lot further. Digital age offers new technology and then, of course, new problems to go with it. What are those new problems? Well, one of those problems is having a permanent record of everything you said. Maybe everything you said in Facebook Messenger or any other messaging app that you use. You're now creating all these permanent records, and because typing messages is easy, it is easy to store, it is easy to access later, it is easy to search to. It doesn't take someone listening on a phone line like we've seen in old spy movies and recording the conversations and transcribing them, which was a lot of effort and work and required a warrant. It is now as easy as a text search. Did this person say something out against the government? And this is a luxury that the Department of Justice is very much after here in the U.S., and other countries have the same problems, where Facebook intends to implement end-to-end encryption despite Department of Justice pressure. And this is, like I said, not exclusive to the United States. We've seen this in Australia, Great Britain, etc. All these places don't like the fact that going dark, as they call it, where using end-to-end encryption is really bad for them because they can't see your messages. And even with a warrant, they can't see it. And that scares those in power because they've become very used to having the power to easily go through and get messages and things like that. Now, while I don't think Facebook is a privacy-oriented company and they're more self-interested in doing end-to-end encryption because they don't like sharing data with anyone except for themselves to monetize your existence, this is one of the things that came out of the Facebook hearings, because them being a big company that they can tangibly push around, being a US-based company. And it was this statement right here that kind of got me. I'm not about to create a safe haven for criminals where they can plan their misdeeds, said Graham, who serves as the chair of the committee. You're going to find a way, or we're going to do it for you. And that's a very, iron fist authoritarian attitude, but we have seen this played out in other authoritarian governments outside of the U.S. where, they will read your messages and have opinions because you shared an opinion that is opposing to those in power. And you have to think about that when I say permanent record. You can say, I hold the same opinions of those in power now, therefore, I'm not worried about the opinions I shared. What if those in power change? What if something changes in the future to those in power and you have that permanent record? They can go back in 1990 this or whatever, whenever you started using some messaging app, or 1990, I should say, like 2019 is what I actually meant. 2019, you said this, and our beliefs are this in 2023, and here's that permanent record we subpoenaed, and we wanted to subpoena all people who held this opinion in 2019. Well, that would be problematic for you or anyone in that situation. So I've always believed messages should be encrypted. I always believe they should probably not be, if they're very personal, you don't want them publicly shared, or you have some type of public opinion and you are absolutely, have the right to have this. And I believe you have a right to privacy. So let's talk about a couple apps I use to keep things private and to keep some of those messages encrypted where they're away from companies like Facebook, who are not as exactly as privacy oriented. Now, the two things I use are going to be Keybase, which is a newer service. And I know Keybase is a little bit controversial because they don't exactly have a business model just yet. So right now, the people seem well-grounded and want to keep everything encrypted. It supports end-to-end encryption. What I say hesitant about Keybase is, could they be sold? Are they an organization that could eventually become less privacy-oriented? I don't feel so based on the ethos of the current owners. But if they sold the company, obviously there would be a lot of concern because if someone tried to monetize it. Currently, it's funded by the founders, and they're working on building a business model around it that doesn't involve monetizing your existence and monetizing what you do, but it does support excellent end encryption. It supports ephemeral in messages. What I mean by that is messages you can set to, they refer to it as explode, but basically the messages can go away on a predetermined amount of time. They have group chats that can occur in. They've done a lot. I've got a review of this. I need to do an updated review just to talk about all the extra features. But in short, it's a pretty amazing system. I use quite a bit. And the nice thing about Keybase is I'm pretty easy to find. Keybase.io/Lawrence Systems. And this finds everything me and all the devices and kind of like an identity verification system. And that's how this started with Keybase, was identity verification. And they moved into, hey, it's pretty easy to be able to PGP encrypt things, to do encrypted chat. And I really like this. So without you having to get too deep into how PGP works, you can trust that you can send a message here. You can encrypt this message and then send me this message, and it is now encrypted. And they can hold on to the public-private key for this, which is pretty outstanding. And well, if you want to be more secure, you only give them your public key to encrypt, and I'll hold on to my private key so I never have to worry about Keybase having it. And it's a great system. I've been using it for quite a while. The phone app and everything works great. The other one, this is what I use with my friends and family. I've gotten many of them all to switch over to Signal. Now, Signal is a little bit different, and Signal was a brainchild of Moxie Marlinspike, put this together, wanted a really solid encrypted communications. Now, some people have a problem with the fact that it ties to your phone number, but that was a design decision made where, yes, it does tie to your phone number for identification management, so you do have to have a phone. So that being said, it is only really for people I know. It's not like the public messaging system where people can message me. I thought about getting a separate phone number in case people wanted to message me on it. You can tie it to any phone number that supports SMS. But for the most part, people who know me personally, this is my preferred method of communication. And once again, supports the ephemeral nature of things, some group chats and group text. It's very cross-platform. Android, iPhone also has a desktop app that works in Linux and Windows. Excellent system. And one of the important things about how they work, Signal is made for you as an open source project supported by grants and donations. Matter of fact, a lot of very privacy oriented people have donated money to Signal, and it's set up as an organization, foundation, nonprofit that does not profit off of you. That their business model isn't a business model. It is a nonprofit organization, and it is a well-vetted, solid security app. And by the way, both Keybase and Signal have been code audited, and we have really smart people like Bruce Schneier who have gone through and looked at the code on Signal, which, by the way, is open source, and very much agree that it's a solid, well-done platform. Trust no one encryption is one of the things I'm really looking for. And trust no one means I can encrypt things and there's not a third-party intermediary involved that holds onto my keys. An example of PGP, as long as I never upload my private key to Keybase, you can use my public key to encrypt, and Keybase never can see those messages. Now, you do have to have a level of trust with Keybase in terms of if you're expecting those messages to disappear. But once again, it's an open source project. They have been code vetted. They have been audited. So yes, they are doing what they say they're doing and keeping the messages encrypted. And I always set all my messages to be non-permanent. And Signal. Well, Signal's end-to-end between two people. With cell phones, for example, is where you start. You both have to have each other's cell phone number. You agree, and you can set the encryption key. And if anyone ever changes phones, tries to change phone number and message you right away, even if they change phones with the same phone number, you get a notice immediately that, hey, someone swapped out their encryption. That way, if someone were to try to hijack or play man in the middle on that, you would know right away because of the encryption they use. It notifies you that there's been a change. So both these are great tools out there, the Signal and Keybase that I use on a daily basis to keep things private, because I don't need everything in my life to be a permanent record, especially if I want to have some private conversation with my wife. I believe that conversation should be kept private. The other advantage that happens when you have messages that expire after only a few days is the inability for her to scroll back and say, didn't you say that one time? Yeah, there's slight advantages. Now, would I really trust the encryption that's places like Facebook? Not really. Maybe, like I said, it's self-serving that they want to maintain privacy for their own good. But for the most part, I don't really think if you gave a third encryption key, like you have Facebook between you and then the government gets a third key so they can decrypt your messages, I think this would be a problem with abuse because of the scale at which we can automate it. and invade your privacy. And of course, that problem of these permanent records that you create and any future power holding it and going back retroactively and saying, didn't you say this? That's where I think there's a lot of concern. And I could be wrong. I could be the one wearing the tinfoil hat here and thinking that may be a concern, but why not delete the messages and you don't even have to worry about this concern. You kind of make that problem go away. And I think it's better that we all have a little bit of privacy and really consider what we do have as a public record and what we don't. And thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content from the channel, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon if you'd like YouTube to notify you when new videos come out. If you'd like to hire us, head over to lawrencesystems.com, fill out our contact page, and let us know what we can help you with and what projects you'd like us to work together on. If you want to carry on the discussion, head over to forums.lawrencesystems.com where we can carry on the discussion about this video, other videos, or other tech topics in general. Even suggestions for new videos, they're accepted right there on our forums, which are free. Also, if you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, head over to our affiliate page. We have a lot of great tech offers for you. And once again, thanks for watching and see you next time.